All right, we'll be starting now, and I would like to thank everyone who has joined in early for the class. You're welcome to the Excel for Beginners class. Thank you so much for joining in. We have a few people on the line, and we have others that will be joining in afterwards as well. For those who joined in after the link was sent with regards to the exercise file, you should be getting that shortly in the chat room as well as we get into the meat of the class. My name is Bumi Ajaguno, and this is a test run for our Excel 101 class. I would first start with a poll, but shortly after we have a few more people join the class on basically what your proficiency level is with Excel, ranging from you have no clue how to even start and bring up an Excel sheet, to you're a beginner, to you're an in more like a beginner to intermediate, and then moving up to whether you're an intermediate or you're a professional or you're somewhere in between there. So the polls will be coming up at some point. And just for us to know the demographics of the class, we would like to know you all more. Once again, I'm Bumi Ajagono, and we have a few more people in the class. So now we'll be launching the poll. You should see the poll coming on your screen. Please complete the poll so that we sort of have a good demographics of the people who are in the class. Thank you. Continue to fill that. We'll just give a few more minutes. All right, we have a few more people join. We have more responses. Yes, thank you. And the poll will be closing shortly. Just give a minute. Okay, so I'll be closing the poll now. Thanks to those who have responded, and you will be seeing the results of the poll as I share it on the screen. So the results actually show that we have 18% of those in the class being beginners, and it ranges upwards to beginners to intermediate, 36%, and the majority of the class, 45%, are on the intermediate level, which is good. So if I'm going too fast, you can slow me down. My assumption is that we'll have a few people who are in this class who might not have gone through what we'll be taking you through, and some who will have gone through what we've been taking you through and they already know it because we have a wide range of demographics of those who are in the class. All right, so I'll be sharing my screen and we'll be just first starting with an introduction to why we feel data is important. So basically, the introduction to this class, like I had mentioned, is just to tell you the power of data and Excel. And the question many times is, so why is data important? I can live my life without, really using data. Well, the truth about it is you can make a decision, yes, without using data. But when you want to make an informed decision, data drives decision making in all industries. It's regardless of whether you're in the finance industry, you're in the oil and gas, regardless of the industry you find yourself in, data is extremely key. And according to Forbes, 90% of the world's data was generated in the last 2 years post COVID. Excel is also used by over 750 million people worldwide. This is according to Microsoft. And we found that organizations that actually rely on Excel for whether it's analysis, budgeting, reporting, and the likes, and automation are actually one of the tops. A lot of them actually rely on them now. A few organizations that did not used to do like budgeting, you find them out there now looking for budgeting apps and spaces in the budgeting space, compensation, benefits, name it. Everyone is using data now for their decision making. Now, so why do we use Excel? The main reason why we use Excel is to ensure that we boost productivity. When you use Excel, you actually find yourself working smarter. It's not about working harder, but about working smarter. You stand to have a competitive advantage over other employees who do not understand the fundamentals of Excel. And I can give you a personal story. So, 2 years ago, I touched base with a younger friend of mine, Debbie, and I reached out to her to find out how she was doing and all of that. And she mentioned that she was still in the job market, and quite a few of the positions that she had seen out there were requesting for her to have Excel skills, and she really wasn't so good with Excel. So she registered for the 6 week program, and then we started and we started Excel from real basic Excel. By the time it was the sixth week, during this, by the way, she had assignments to take home, she had exercises to take home, and when we meet the following week, we looked at it, we talked about other methods that she could have used. She asked questions with regards to the challenges that she had while she was working on, the exercise and the assignments and all of that. Debbie landed a job 2 weeks after our 6 week program. And this is just one example of one person who, with the additional knowledge of Excel, landed a job that she had otherwise wouldn't have landed, that she would otherwise not have landed if she had not understood Excel. The current job I'm in, I've been working with my current company for about 7+ years now. And I started off as an HR analyst. So I'm in the human resources space, and I started off as an HR analyst, and I can tell you that though I knew Excel while I started, before I got that job, I had to do an Excel assessment. For all those who say, "Oh, I think I know Excel," but they really do not know Excel or do not understand Excel, passing that exam would not have been possible. And now I've risen through the ranks, and I have not just, rested on my oars. I continue to learn daily. I have team members that I oversee that do researches every now and then on Excel, and then we meet every month to discuss what did you learn between the last month and now with regards to your job, Excel, R, pivots, macros, VBA codes, name it. We discuss as a team. And why I'm bringing this example in is because there are sometimes we feel we know Excel, we're proficient in Excel, we're the gurus in Excel, and we know it all. No, there are so many things that are delivered, constantly by Microsoft that we need to keep abreast on, whether it is going on YouTube to look at challenges and to see whether you can be part of those challenges, or opening up a class to teach others who are in the space as well, or even being part of a class like this where you can actually learn as well from others that also know how to use Excel, or just being there as a change agent in your organization as well, to be that person that they can fall back on, will be very good. Next, it improves efficiency. It helps you do things faster for sure and even more accurately. Because when you automate things, when you use calculations and you streamline workflows, just before this class, I was in another Excel class with someone who just landed a job, and we're looking at how to automate a few things. And basically, her question was, so does it mean if I update this table, then the chart will automatically update? Yes. And that's how Excel works. Basically, with the click of one button within seconds, your chart, your pivot, everything is just updated. How much more as in why not use that versus, going the manual way and just checking it one after the other, updating manually one after the other. So there's a lot of power, in the use of Excel and the automations when you automate calculations as well. Next, we're going to look at the fact that it also enhances employability. Like I had mentioned with the case of Debbie, Debbie landed a job shortly after taking the Excel 6 week class. So Excel is a must-have skill for most jobs, regardless of whether your job requires it or not. It just helps you think differently and helps you think more analytically. And then it actually goes into a wider range. It's not just Excel for people in analytics, which is a niche skill. It's also you can go into data analytics, data science, and as in this, it's such a wide range when you look at the use of Excel. Next, we'll just go into the course agenda quickly, and these are the things that we'll cover in the course. Getting started with Excel, just looking at doing a demo, data entry, basic formulas, sorting, and then basic charts and visualization. Now we'll start with the getting started part, and I would like us to first I'm just going to send it once more. You should be getting a link, which I had already sent earlier on in the chats. For those who joined afterwards, the link is back in the chat. So click on the link and that's your exercise file. That's the exercise file that we'll be using for this course. Okay, give me a hands up or thumbs up in the chat if you have access to that, and then we'll dive right in. Okay, I see some people have. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I see the hands coming up. To confirm. Yes, thank you. Okay. If you have challenges opening it, please let us know. Send me a chat to let me know if you have any challenges opening it. Okay, you're good. That's fine. That's good. Awesome. We have quite a few people. That's good. We just wait a minute to make sure that everybody has access to the exercise file. And once you have access to the exercise file, what you should see will be something similar to this. So the first tab should have Codable HR, and then there are 4 other tabs: HR, Admin, Questions, and Sheet 3. Okay. All right, so we'll start now. And then if you need me to slow down, just let me know. If you need me to bump up, let me know as well. All right, so we'll start with the second tab. And this tab pretty much shows, I'm just going to share my screen again. See, some people might not see my screen. All right. So this first tab just shows the company that we're working with, which is the Codable HR. It's the company. And this company pretty much is a real company, which has it's CodeableHR.com, and we have quite a few, things in there that you can use in the HR space. There are people analytics, SaaS, as in there's so many. It's um, a wide range of things that you can actually get out of Codable HR. So we're going to start with our data source, which is the HR tab. So we're now in the HR tab. If you could all please click on the HR tab. Okay, awesome. I see more thumbs up saying that you have access to the link. So for those who have just joined, the link is in the chat room. I see 2 people joined after. All right. So what we have in front of us is the Codable HR's attendance, and it's looking at different columns. So when you look at the verticals are called columns and the horizontals are called rows. So you have rows like this and you have columns this way. Over here, what you have in the column A are unique identifiers, and then you have the first name, you have the last name, and then you have the full name that has not been populated. We will populate that during the course of this class. And then we have attendance for half the year, which is from January to June for this particular company. What we're going to find out, what we're going to try to look for is the mean, the median, and the mode, and then also try to see how we can merge this file with the admin file by doing a VLOOKUP. We're going to do a VLOOKUP, we're also going to do an XLOOKUP, and then bring in the birth month and the marriage status. During the course of the class as well, we will also do some charts, some visualizations using the formulas that we have already put in there. At any given point in time, I'm monitoring the chat room on my other device, so please feel free to put in the chat. I have the chat opened on another device, so I'll be able to answer your questions as we go on so that we don't go too fast before we get your questions answered. All right, so right now in front of us, we have our chart, our HR tab open. And we're going to start basically here. With this HR tab open, what we want to do is understand what the mean is, what the median is, and what the mode is. Over here, we have a list of let's call them employees. We have a list of employees in Codable HR with their first name separated from their last name. But first, we want to know what the mean is, what the median is. And when we talk about mean, we're talking about the average. Mean pretty much means average number of employees in that, or average number of whatever distribution we're looking at. Now, because we have the names of the employees and we have their attendance, what we now want to get is the average attendance by employee. And the question is, so how do we do that? How do we get the average attendance by employee using a formula? Generally, in our math class, when we're in high school or middle school, we would have calculated the average by the sum of all the numbers divided by the number of all the numbers. But we're not going to be doing that now. What we're going to be doing now is putting in an Excel formula to find that out. So what we'll do is we'll put our cursor in this cell, which is the first cell, because the first name here is Ava Smith. And what we want to do here is to get the mean for Ava Smith. What was Ava Smith's attendance? Average attendance for half the year. That's from January to June. The distribution here is going to be from column E to column J. So you put your cursor into column K2, and you might wonder, how do we know what's K2? So usually when you're identifying a cell in Excel, you start with the column name first and then the row name. So in this regard, like I mentioned earlier on, the column is column K because it's the vertical and it's identified as K up here. And then the row here is row 2, which is identified horizontally over here. So that's K2. And sometimes you might not know what cell you're in, but there is an identifier up on the top left right here that shows where you're in. So this is identifying K2, but if I click elsewhere, it's identifying where I am. It has changed to M15. So wherever you click on, the quick identifier is up on the top left there. So we go back to cell K2 and then we put in our formula. The formula we want to put in is the average formula because the mean is the average for that particular person. So we put in the formula by typing is equals to average. And as you're typing, for those who use for those who use using their laptops, you will see it tells you a description of what this formula actually does. So it says it returns the average of its arguments. All right. So we say is equals to average, and then open the brackets. When you have that bracket open, what you'll do is you'll pick the distribution that you want. We want to pick the distribution from E to J because that is from January to June. So we put down our cursor and have this distribution, and it shows it here that it's equals to average E2 to J2, and then you close your bracket and then you enter. What it is telling us there is that Though Ava came 3 times in January to work, and she came 1 time in March to work, and she came twice the rest of the months, her average is 2. The average attendance is 2 for Ava. There are other ways you could actually find an average. You could say it's equals to average, and then you pick them one after the other. So you pick the one here, and then you do the comma. You pick the next one, you put the comma. You bring the next one, you put the comma. You pick the next one, you put the comma. You pick the next one, comma, next one, and then you close your bracket. And sometimes you can do this if your distribution is not on the same place. You want to pick the average of distributions that are all over the place and are not in one line. Then you can do that with this particular type of formula, and then you press enter, and then you get your average here. So it's saying that Scott Simpson's average is 1.83. So to have all of this drill down, rather than doing it one by one for each of these employees, you just double. There's your cursor right now. As I'm moving my cursor, you can see that it's a white cross, but you can just have it drill down by clicking the bottom right of this cell until that cross becomes a black cross, and then you double click, and then it fills it right to the bottom on here. So when you click on your formula, you see that the formula is in there. The same formula is in there, apart from the first one that we did another formula. So that's an easy way to just drill down. Another way you could drill down is once you have that, you actually drag manually up until the end, and it's the same effect. You can drill down that way. Another way you can drill down is to just copy. So you can click on it, right click, click on copy, and then you select where you want it to go, and then you right click and you press the paste, and then it's the same effect. Okay, oops, sorry. And then it's the same effect that you have. The shortcut to that is you can copy by doing the Control C on your keyboard, and then paste by doing the Control V on your keyboard. So you have different formulas. There's the Control V, there's the Control C. So the Control C is to copy, and then the Control V is to paste. And then you have your distribution here. So we're done, and we've checked off the mean, how to get your average. That has been checked off. All right. The next is we're going to get our median, which is the middle number of our distribution that we have here. Middle number is pretty much, if you have a distribution, you want to find out which number is right at the center of that distribution. And so for this particular distribution, we're looking at the middle of this particular people. Give me 1 second. And to get the median, just as it says, it's median. So you click in here and you say is equals to, and you type it out, median. You open your bracket, and just like you did for the average, you select your distribution, close your bracket, and press enter. And then you can do the same thing by drilling down. And then you have your distribution. Now, one thing you will notice is that the way your decimals are here are different from the way your decimals are here. So in order to get your 2 decimals, you could highlight the place that you want the 2 decimals, and then you increase the decimals by either increasing the decimal here or just clicking the comma on the top middle of your screen. And then it changes your distribution to look formatted. Why we formatted that was because you noticed that there were some that were no decimals because they were integers. Integers mean a whole number with no fractions. And there were some that were decimals because they had fractions. All right. Okay, so I see a question from Choma saying that we should take it again. So I'm going to close the median and I'm going to take this again. So when you have your Excel open and you go to your cell L2, excuse me, so cell L2 means that the column is L and the row is 2. So you click in there in your L2 and you type it and you type in is equals to Then you type median, Median. Then you open your bracket. Once you have done that, you then select what you want the median of. In this regard, we want the median of the attendance of each of these employees from January to June. So you select from January to June, and the formula you should have there is equals to median, open your bracket, E2 semicolon J2, and then you close your bracket. Many times Excel is very similar to English, but you just need to understand what that code or what that thing means in English. So when you see the semicolon in a formula like this, it's just the English for TO2. So what it's saying is that you are finding the median from E2, that's cell E2, to cell J2 and everything in between. Close your bracket and then enter. I hope that helps, Choma. So I'm just going to increase my screen a little bit because I see some say that they can't really see the screen. All right, so I've increased it now. All right, I hope that's better. Okay, perfect. So now we've done our median. Thanks for the confirmation, Choma. Choma is ahead now. So we've done the median now, and the median pretty much is similar to how you can do how we did the average as well. So you did the median by saying E2 to to J2, but you could also do the same thing like we had done for the average in this formula, where instead of the average, you put the median and then you select each of the cells, which we could do here as well, and we get the same thing. Now, just to be faster, another thing we could do is when we come in here and we copy this formula out here, and you do your Control C to copy, Escape or Tab, and then go into cell L3 and then paste using Control V that formula in there. It will still give you that distribution, but you remember that you had average from where you are copying in from. So what you do is you change the average to median and you press enter and you have the formula. So that formula is now showing the median of the same distribution. One other thing I wanted to point out as well is when you're looking at your formula, especially when you have multiple things inside your formula, when you click on your formula, you will see some colors inside the formula itself. And when I say some colors, the window for your formulas are on the top here. So you can see that E2, E3 is showing blue, F3 is showing pink and all of that. The same way it is when you are looking actually at the cells here. So each cell has been given a color by Excel, Microsoft Excel, and that color is actually in the formulas as well. So you just press enter, and just as I had taught you, make sure your cursor is black, the black cross, and then you double click and then it goes straight down. Let's remove the last one because there's nothing there. So you now have your median. So we're done with our median. Now we'll do our mode. Our mode is pretty much the number that appears the most. I always remember it with they sound like mode most. So the mode is the number that occurs the most. So you will look at the distribution and you figure out, okay, which of these numbers appear the most. In this distribution, we're looking at January to June. So it's a little easier for us because we're looking at just 6 months. But there's some times when you will have like monster spreadsheets from one end to another end, and you have to find out the number that occurs the most. And you cannot just start by, calculating it and things like that. So what you'll do is you come in here and you put it in mode that is equals to mode, open your bracket, and you're doing the same distribution, which is January to June. Close your bracket and enter. So the formula is equals to mode, open your brackets, do your selection from E2 to J2, close your selection and press enter. What it's telling you is that the number that appears the most for Ava Smith is 2. Let's check whether that is correct. So Ava came 3 times in January, 2 times in February, once in March, twice in April, twice in May, twice in June. Looking at the distribution on face value, we can already tell that 2 was the one that appeared the most. So this is correct at 2. And then the same way you can do the formula and then Just double click so that it just scrolls down. Like I had mentioned, you would want also for your numbers to sort of be in the same format as others. So if you want one decimal all round, let it be one decimal all round. If you want two decimals, many times in Excel, it's more visually appealing when everything is sort of formatted uniformly. So we're just going to highlight this and then click the comma style so that it just gives automatic two decimals. So you can click the comma style, automatically it just formats it to two decimals. However, if you want one decimal, what you do is you click on this, which is to decrease the decimal, and then it decreases it all by one decimal. If you don't want any decimal and you want it to further decrease, you click this and then you decrease it further to one decimal. But remember, we just want this one. So we go with this one. So that's it with the mode. And I'll just stop and find out whether anyone has any questions. Okay. So NECA, is it okay now? Is the view good after I have okay, thank you. So NECA is fine now with the view. Now let's continue. As we continue, you will notice here that on the left-hand side, I had what I call full name. Why would I want the full name? And I'll tell you why. There's another tab apart from the HR tab that we're working on right now called the admin tab. Could you all follow me to the admin tab? Now, when we look at the admin tab, what we have there is the names of the employees, their birth month, and their status. But one thing is different. The way the names of the employees are inside here, it's showing the full name. So it's giving me the first name with the last name combined. However, when I go to the HR tab, what it's showing me here is the first name in one column and the last name in another column. But that's not how it is in the admin tab. So for me to be able to get their birthday or their birth month from here, does it mean I have to go into the HR tab, look at Ava Smith, manually come to the admin tab, look for Ava Smith, and then wonder, "Ugh, is she here? Is she not here? Yes, I found her. Her birth month is January." And then I come here and then I type it in January. Imagine if this were loads and loads and loads of data and how much time it will take you to manually look for an employee, find the name, and then bring the date here or the month here. One, there might be errors. Two, you might not find the right person. Three, you might be looking, and four, it's just going to be so time consuming. Trust me. So, what we're going to do is we're going to combine these two. When we say combine, it's like we're coming here, we're seeing that this is already combined, but here it's not combined. So, for me to be able to make sure that I'm able to get a formula that can pick the birth month, I have to make sure that there's a unique identifier. And that unique identifier, I am choosing for it to be the full name. So that when I have Ava and I have Smith, I want to combine it to have Ava Smith. And then I look up into here to get Ava Smith's birth month and put it inside the HR tab. Because the assignment I have as an HR person right now is to bring in the birth month for all the employees into one spreadsheet. However, my source is not showing in the same way as I exported the file. How are we going to do that? There are two ways. It's called concat or concatenate, or just the and, because we want to bring Ava and Smith together to be one, to be the full name. I'll show you the different ways. So I'm just going to remove this first one, which shows January. We already know Ava Smith should come up with January, but that's not where we're going to first. I want to first bring her full name here, Ava Smith. So rather than start to type Ava and Smith and then do each one after the other, there's one thing I want to show you. There's concat, there's concatenate, there's and, but there's also what we call the flash fill. Flash fill basically means that when you start to type something, your Excel sort of already has that knowledge on the back end to see that there's some consistency in what you're doing. And then it will suggest to you, do you want the rest to be like this? Let's try that. So I'm going to start by starting manually, Ava Smith, right? And then I press enter. There's no consistency yet because I've just done it the first time. Next, I try Scott Simpson. Scott. Can you see what's happening? As I'm typing Scott Simpson, my flash fill is already up, suggesting Should it do everybody like this? All I just need to do is to press enter on my laptop and it already fills everybody up. See how that happened? No formulas are in there, but it filled it already for me because it already sort of saw that and then it complied and it did that. That's what they call the flash fill. That's one method. Another method is, and I'm gonna, should I add another one or I should? Okay, I'll add another here so that you see the different methods and I can send this workbook to you afterwards. So another method to concant and or to do the and is just do the concant or do the and. So I'm just going to start with the concant first. So you do is equals to, you put your cursor, oh sorry, I would not add the form. I will not add it in here. Let me delete. The reason why is because you all don't have you all have your distribution from the E. I'll override this. All right, so this is one way. The second way is you do is equals to concat. Can you see? So you can choose either of the two, concatenate, concat. Both of them will give you similar formula. So once you click the concat, then you open your bracket and then it's asked, what do you want to concat? You want to concat Ava and then you also want to concat Smith. But if we just do Ava and Smith together, would it give us the same way as it's giving the Ava space Smith? Let's try that. So I do Ava and then I do Smith and then I close my brackets. What do we see that is wrong? That is wrong here. Sorry, I'm going to delete all the rest. All right. What do we see that is wrong here? Can somebody just type it in and let me know what is incorrect in this place? Anyone? Okay, thank you. Yes, the space. Exactly. The space is what is missing in there. And I see a few people joined us just recently. So you have um that's the link in the chat. All right, so this is good. The space. So for us to have the space, you it can either double click to get back your formula, which is showing you your blue and your red, which is Ava and Smith, what you're combining, or you can come to the formula tab in here. There's always a window on the top to show you where your formula is, and then you can sort it here. So we want a space in between here. So what do I do? The space is going to be in quotation. So I add another one, quotation, space, quotation, and I close and I do a comma. What this looks like, what this means is that I'm saying combine B2, which is Ava, and space. Space is always just a space, but you want Excel to know that it's an intentional space. So you put a quotation in between, and then you end it with C2. Once you finish, you're saying Ava space Smith is what you want. And then you press your enter. Can you see how it has given your Ava space Smith? That's what you want. So you already have Ava Smith. And like we always say, you can just double click. Once your cursor becomes black, you double click and it does the rest like that. So you have Scott Simpson, you have Emmanuel Screet, you have Enrio Scambaluri, you have the names all there. So you're all in there good. And you also have to review your data because one thing it did as well, it brought in the total attendance. You don't want the total attendance, trust me. All right. So there you go. You have that. That is one formula. And that's the concant formula. The next formula you could use to combine is the and. Just you want to put Ava and Smith together. So with this said, what we'll do is we'll come here and we say is equals to Ava. And so for the and, all you just need to do is to press shift with the number 7. So shift with 7, the top. Once you say shift on your keyboard, it brings the upper symbol on that particular key. So the and sign is above the 7, the number 7 on most laptops. So you click the Ava, then you and. Remember the space, because if you just do Ava and Smith, it will give you the same Ava Smith without the space that we had initially. So you do Ava and you put the space with a colon in with the quotation, then you press and again, and then you pick your C2. So what you have done here, and I'll leave the formula up for you all. What you have done here is Ava and space and C2. Now, the question in the chat is, does concat have an advantage over concatenate? No, it's the same thing. It's just one is shorter when you type it in. The exact same thing. It all started with concatenate, and then about 2 years or 2.5 years ago, there was an upgrade in Excel and then just changed to concat, but it's exactly the same. It's just a short form. And then once you have that, so back to the training, this is what you have, and then you press enter and you have Ava Smith. One other thing I would like to for you to note as well is as you're typing your formulas, if you're sometimes you might get an error. We haven't gotten an error yet, but let's assume you have an error, right? Or maybe you did not put like your space in quotation and you did something like this, right? And yes, can you see an error comes, excuse me, an error comes up. So it says we found a typo in your formula and it's suggesting a typo. Many times it's suggesting a resolution. Many times people just say yes. It's always important to see what the resolution is before you say yes. And when you're seeing the resolution that Excel is giving you, you might now find out, oh no, this is not what I want. It's because I missed the quotation. And then you go back to your formula. You first say no, you go back to your formula, this comes up and you say okay, and then you go fix it with the quotation in there, and then you go. Another thing that you could do when you get an error like that and you're not sure what the result looks like is you go to the function bar. So the function bar is on the left hand side of where you have these formulas. You click the FX, it's called FX, and then it will come up with a pop-up, and I'm just going to bring this to the middle of your screen so that you see it clearly. So it's called a pop-up. It comes up with what you're trying to do, and it's like, okay, what exactly are you trying to do? What formula are you trying to do? So let's assume that it was a concat that we had there. So what it's going to do here is it's going to bring the formulas here and similar formulas as well. So the concat is telling you that you can use concat, you can use concatenate, and you can use text join. These are all formulas that you can use, or you can go the shortcut route like I did and also do the and formula as well. Just what you want and what you want to add to it, what you want to join to it. So let's assume we're in the concat right now. You click the concat, you can either double click or you select it and then click OK. When you do that, it comes up with another pop-up box asking what do you want to join. So I want to join Ava. So I'm going to close, give me 1 second. I'm just going to close this and cancel this and do the FX. We had the concat. All right. So we're starting the formula. Concat is saying, what boxes do you want? You click on Ava. You want Ava. And the text 2 is what? You want Smith. But what it's giving you before you press OK, the results usually come here. So you see the result and you already know, no, I need a space in between it. So you can say, no, this is not what I want. I want something else. So you come here, you can, sorry, you come here and you click your space with the quotes. And then you come here and you select the C2. And you look for the result. The result says Ava space Smith. And that's exactly what you're looking for. And then once you get what you're looking for, you press OK. This function argument works with every formula. So far, you have an idea of the formula. And even if you're not sure about the formula, it's okay to write a little description to see whether it can suggest formulas for you. And then you see how it all works out, whether it's VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, text join, mean, median, mode. You understand? You can go in there. I didn't remember that the mean was average, but they said I should do the mean. So maybe I can type mean in there. It will give you suggestions for average, average A, and things like that. So once you get that in here, you just double click and it goes all the way down and you have your distribution in there. So these are all different methods. You can use concat, concatenate, text join, and just read the regular and you get this in there as well. So what we now have is a unique name here that is common to the sheet that is HR and also the sheet that is admin sheet, because you also have their names here. Now we're moving now into, does anybody have any questions? Okay, no questions. Aha, thank you. Yes. So thanks for the chats that are being sent. So now we're now moving into what we call VLOOKUP. And I'm also being conversant of the time as well. VLOOKUP many times, by the time you're moving from this to VLOOKUP, you sort of can pride yourself in saying, I'm no more a beginner. I'm sort of kind of getting into the intermediate level of Excel. And that's sort of true. But you have to also make sure that you use these formulas and these tricks, tips and tricks every day or at least ever so often so that you don't forget it. You know, Excel on a normal day is quite easy. It's just getting to understand it and then work with it every day. You get to be a guru. A lot of the things that I learned in Excel, some of them, not too many, but quite a few of them, maybe I should say a lot actually, were by mistake. So I was putting in a formula, then I bumped into something, or I was trying to put in Control C, but instead I did Control Z or Control T or Control K, and I realized, oh, that's a shortcut for something. So you sort of bump into mistakes, or you think it's a mistake, but in real sense, you're actually bumping into more and more formulas, and you're like, oh, that's actually easier for me to actually use than going through 3 steps or 4 steps. I can just use this shortcut. And after this class, I'm going to send you a cheat sheet of shortcuts that we have in Excel to all those who attended the class as well. So that's a bonus for this class. All right. Now, when we go into this, what we now want to do is we want to bring the birth month from one sheet into another sheet. And now we know that there's a common identifier, which is the name in the same format. The names are the same, written the same way, first name, last name together, which gives us the full name in both sheets. The way a VLOOKUP can work is that you have to have something unique about each entry. So in this case, it is the full name that we have. All right, let's get right into it. And honestly, I'm going to slow down if you need me to slow down on this one because this is sort of getting more advanced than just the beginner level. This is a bonus for this class. So we have the full month and sorry, we have the full name here. And what we want now is to have the birth month. So just go to the end and just type in birth month because this was not part of today's exercise. So you type in birth month in here. All of you should have your full name in the D column. If you had added another column, it's fine. Maybe you were trying to look at the different formulas that we had for all the different things and you put it in another column, it's fine as well. For the purpose of this, we have it on the D column. You might have it on another column because you might have added more columns. But here you go into your birth month, you type in column N, and then we're going to do a formula in here. And there are 2 ways I'm going to show you. There's the VLOOKUP, there's the XLOOKUP, and we're going to go through both of them. Now, what am I saying when I say VLOOKUP? VLOOKUP in general terms just means I'm vertically looking something up. Why would I use a VLOOKUP in this regard? The names of the people are vertically written. There's also what we call the HLOOKUP, which is horizontal lookup when a lot of your data is horizontal. Many times we use Excel with our data vertical. Certain times I have used the HLOOKUP because the data, payroll data was coming horizontally. So here we're going to use the VLOOKUP because we're going to VLOOKUP that column to make sure that when it finds it, it brings in what we want. All right, let's start. Okay, so we're first going to start with typing it in and then we look at it if we had used the function argument. So let's start. All right. Are you able to all work on the worksheet? Can you just say yes? Okay, I see yes, I see no, I see yes. Okay, people are able to work on it. So if you open the worksheet and it told you enable editing at the top, please make sure you click on enable editing because it's important for you to be able to enable the editing so that you can edit. All right. So someone said okay. So someone said she was working on it with on Google Sheets rather than Excel. All right. So what was sent to you was an Excel sheet. So download it as Excel and then we'll work on it as Excel. However, if you want to use Google Sheets, just copy the data into Google Sheets. The formulas are the same. the same way, pretty much. They're very similar. Thanks for that. All right. Next, we'll go into the birth month and we then do the VLOOKUP. So you do the equals to VLOOKUP. You just type it in V and look up. And then you open the brackets. What you first do with the VLOOKUP, just like it's telling you, it's giving you that description right here. You see it? It's telling you what you should do here. It's saying that what value do you want to look up? In this regard, what value do you think we want to look up? That we want to look in here and then we want it to find it in the other sheet. Can somebody please answer in the chat room? What value do we want to look up? What's our unique value? Full name. Thank you, Eugenia. So the full name is what we want to look up. So we click the full name here. And once we click the full name here, what it's telling us is that please look for Ava Smith. And you remember we're using the VLOOKUP. So the VLOOKUP is go there and vertically look at the column I'm telling you to look at, right? So I go to here and I say, I want to look up Ava Smith. And it's telling you, but what table array do you want, right? So I want the table array and I go here. When you're VLOOKUPing up, it's important for you to make the first column your unique identifier. So here is the full name. The good thing about this spreadsheet is that full name is already the first, but let's assume we had maybe serial number in column A and full name in column B. For VLOOKUP, what you're looking up should be the first column. So I want to look up this here, right? So I could either do this by my distribution and then make them absolute. When you say absolute it means I want to freeze it. I don't want when I drag down for it also to drag down, because when it drags down, it then shifts from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Okay. And I'm going to show you what all of that shows shortly. Or if you just wanted to look at the whole column, that's column A to column C, you can do that as well just by highlighting from column A and just taking it all to C. So what you have now is a formula saying your VLOOKUP, sorry about that, is equals to VLOOKUP, oops, full name, put your comma, go to admin, highlight cell A to C. Then the next is saying, so it says VLOOKUP, your lookup value, which is your full name, comma, table array, which is in the admin tab, columns A to C. What is the column index number? What do you mean by column index number? Basically, you're going to count the number of the column that you want. What I want here is the birth month, which is column 2, as in A to B. I'm going to stop here a little, and I'm not going to put my cursor down. There is something that you can see. It's a number. It's right here. Can you see it? This is it. It's going according to how when I move, but it's a number that is showing the total number of rows that I have picked versus the columns. What you want to see is the number before that column. You see how it says $1 million with row? That's the number of rows I have picked times 3x. I'm sorry, 3C. That 3C is the number of my column. It's saying column, the third column. If I go to B, which is the birth month of what I want, it says that is the second column. Do you all see that? Yes. So you click that, and then once you do that, you do comma 2 because it's the second column I want, because that's the birth month from my distribution. I selected column A and column B together to have admin A and B. Remember the colon is 2, column A to B, and then I want the second column to be given to me. And if the second column is incorrect, what do I want? I want it to be false. So I did comma and I type that if it is range lookup, if it is not exact, I want it to be false. I say false. Or I can say 0. So this is the formula that I have now. It says VLOOKUP this into this, and I press enter here, and it gives me January. So What are we going to do? We're going to go in to make sure we can see, and I'm just going to copy that formula into the chat room. This is what you should have. All right. So I'm going to see whether Eva Smith was actually born in January. So let's go back to our admin tab and look for Eva Smith. I think I remember seeing her here. Look at Eva. She was born in January. So rather than look for Eva one after the other and then pick it that she was born in January and all of that, no, all you just need to do is to pick, have your formula, and then you have Eva Smith here. And just as we have taught, you just double click here and you have everything populates here. So you have your birth month just with one click for everybody in the organization. It looks at the full name, it goes to the other sheets and it looks for that same person's full name and then produces what is in the second column. The 2 is for column 2 in here. And that's why we have that. All right. Awesome. Okay. So the other way will be for you to just use the function bar. So let's assume this was not the formula that we used here. So we can come in here and just use the function bar and say, you know what, I'm not sure what to pick and what not to pick. So you type in VLOOKUP and then it comes up. It's recommending this. Do an OK. And then it's asking, it brings up a pop-up on you should be putting in here. It says, what's your lookup value? In this regard, our lookup value is the full name because that's the common identifier between the two sheets. So we're going to say, look up Eva Smith in this table array is the table you want it to go to. So you go to admin and you select the table. Doesn't matter how many you select. All that matters is no matter how long you select, just make sure that you know the number of the column that you want. So there are some times like us, we have some Excel sheets that are honestly monster sheets, that we use ever so often. So you might be going to like column 60 something. You cannot start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up until you get to 60 something. No. So you just use this sheet to know, okay, this as it's following me it's little, but you can see that it's covering the title of the next column. So you can see it there, the last numbers there is saying times 20C. So wherever you go to, whatever you do here, what you want is the second column. So even if you decide to highlight everything here, what you would do in the next argument is just to say column 2. So you can continue to pick the whole distribution, but the specific column that you want to bring for you is column 2. So highlight this, press. All right. Oops, sorry. I should not have pressed enter yet. Give me 1 second. I need this up. All right. So we're back here. Over here now, I want the second column. Remember? As I clicked on the second column, look at here. This is where it says equals to my result. I click second. It already gives me that it's January. But what it's telling me here is I just want to be logical. So if it doesn't find Eva Smith in the same way as I click Eva Smith, give me 0 or give me false. So you can either put 0 here, which also means false, or you can type it out false. It would likely give you the same thing. Basically, if you put true or false, it's whether you want it to be an exact match or not. Okay, so I press OK, and that's January as well. So it's giving me January because I'm looking at D2. So though my argument is in row 3, I'm looking for Eva Smith. If I don't want Eva Smith and I want actual Scott Smith, I can come here. Easy way to fix this. When I hover around this cursor, my cross changes. It changes from a white cross to a black cross that has arrows all angles. So when I have that, I then drag it down to Scott Smith. That's the Scott Smith I want. And then I press enter. It fixes it. So it's now showing me Scott Smith. All right. Okay. Any questions? All right. In the absence of any questions, we'll go on. And then we can just scroll down until we get all the others. We can either scroll down this way until we get down, or we can just double click and it will scroll down for us. All right. We're not doing too well on time, so I will sort of move fast. Do we have any questions? Let me just look at that. All right, so NECA wants us to go through it again. So we'll just go through it. We wanted to actually do some charting in here, but for this, it's better to make sure that everybody understands it before we go. All right, so we start now. I also have Fisayo say, how do we get the function bar? So when you open your Excel, you will see the function bar on the top left here. Can you see it here? You will see the function bar here. If your Excel looks something like this, right? And you don't see it, all you see is this. You don't see the you don't see a lot of all of the information. You just click the arrow here, the formula it says here, and then it opens stuff up for you. So you see more than you would otherwise have seen. Or just click on any of the top here, and then you pin it here. You see this pin? To pin it here. But regardless of that, your function bar is usually here on the left-hand side of your formula bar, which is here, which is where I am. All right, so let's do this again. You go into your cell. You're welcome. So you go into your cell, and then you type in the formula is equals to VLOOKUP, and open your bracket. What we want to VLOOKUP is what is common to both sheets. And over here, what is common to both sheets is the full name. So we pick the full name here, only for that line. So we're in N2, but we're looking at D2. So we VLOOKUP D2, which is Eva Smith. Make sure you press your comma, because your comma means different things. It could mean in, it could mean otherwise, it could mean so therefore. So in this regard, it is we're looking up D2 in, then you go to the admin tab, and then you highlight the first two columns. For those who have already gone ahead of us, you can highlight the first three columns on another tab, on another column, and then pick the third one to get the marriage status. All right, so NECA, you highlight the first two or the first three, but what we want is the second column. So this is column 1, and this is column 2. And so here, after you have made sure that this has highlighted in your formula, VLOOKUP D2 in, that's comma, admin exclamation mark A column B, which means VLOOKUP cell D2 in the A and B column of admin tab, comma, the second column is what you should please bring to me, comma, 0. If you don't find it, just give me an error. And then you press enter. Then it will bring it to you here. So now what it's doing is it's bringing Ava Smith's birth month. It went to the admin tab. It looked for Ava Smith in A and produced what she had in B. Guess what? If I change it here in this admin tab and I say Eva Smith's birth month, I'm so sorry, maybe I made a mistake, or maybe Eva Smith, you really cannot change your birth month except some information comes up and whatever it, for whatever reason, or let's assume something happens and she's like, oh no, HR got it all wrong or admin got it all wrong. I'm not January. I am actually March, for example. Maybe she's my birthday mate, March 20. And she click and I press March here. Eva Smith, I change it now to March. Guess what happens here? When I go to HR, because I had already put in a formula, anything I do that is linking up and mapping up to what I have done, it will automatically change. I will not need to manually retype the formula and do that again. So when I go to HR, we should see March. When we click here, yeah, it's March because it's V looking it up. We are linking it up. So any changes that you make in the admin tab will change in this tab as well. So here you go, you have Ava Smith March, you double click and you have all the others' birthdays in here. I hope that helps, Neka. Okay, next. So somebody says explain the 2 in the formula. Now, for a better understanding of the 2, I will do 3. All right. The 2 in the formula just says the second column. Remember when I said when you do a VLOOKUP, you VLOOKUP making sure that the unique identifier is the first on that column, right? So the unique identifier is the first on that column, and then you look up the others. So this unique identifier will be the column 1. This will be column 2. This will be column 3, right? This column 3, you sort of can see there's this small, I don't know what they call it. Uh it's here. It's right. Okay, now you cannot see cell E, the label E. It's currently above the E. So what that formula is saying how many cells I have highlighted. It's saying I have highlighted 1,048,000 cells in my row R and 4 columns. You see that? Times 4C. That's what you see in that cell or above. It's covering the cell E right now. That 4 is showing where I am. D means 4. If I go to C, it means that's the third column. If I go to B, that's the second column. So the 2 in my formula for VLOOKUP is saying I want the birth month, which is in the second column. That's second for 2. But what I'm going to do now is I want you to bring the status, that's the marriage status, which is in my third column, so you can understand. So when I highlight this, it says this is third column, right? So I'm now going to go back to this formula and say marriage status. I do the same formula VLOOKUP. Oops, is equals to VLOOKUP. I open my bracket. I want you to look up the full name, comma. Never forget your comma or it will give you an error, comma. The 3 columns. Column 3 is C. Column C is 3. So I do comma 3, comma 0, close my bracket and enter. What does it give me? It gives me the third column. Does that help, Eugenia? Yeah, perfect. So you're welcome. So this is what you do. However, and then you can just scroll down. So you can see that Eva Smith is, you might not understand what sing. It's here. So there's a legend here for you to know what each of them means. So it says that legend. It shows that Eva Smith is single. So here you have all of them and you can just drag down. Now there's a question that comes up that says, is XLOOKUP better than VLOOKUP? To be honest with you, I would say I prefer XLOOKUP to VLOOKUP in certain circumstances. And the reason why I said I prefer it in certain circumstances is because you really don't have to worry yourself about like the number of the columns and all of that. XLOOKUP will help you look at the horizontal and the vertical, if you get what I mean, and it will bring up what you want. So you don't have to say VLOOKUP A to B and then bring second column. For XLOOKUP, it will be XLOOKUP this in A, bring B, otherwise error. And we're going to do that now. So that's very good question. So we have the VLOOKUP now. All right. If I have Mia on the line, can she please just send a chat? I want to make sure she's on the line as well. She has an information for us all. All right. So here, this is what we'll do. So we're going to do the same thing, but with XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP. Let's do the birthday again. Birth month. Sorry. All right. So we're going to do birth month again, but instead we're now going to be doing with the formula of XLOOKUP. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to, I'm just going to make this a little smaller so that we can see. Highlight. I'm just going to make, when you highlight multiple cells, you can shrink the the width of the column size. And as you're shrinking, you can tell you the 7.43 is the column size. I need to shrink all the ones that you've highlighted from the top to the same thing. Can you see how it did that? So everything is now equal width. And this is just because I want you all to be able to see more. And also so that Neka can see more because it was too small at some point for her. All right, so we have the birth month. If you wanted to get to the width that you want, rather than just drag like this and then get here, all you just need to do is come here when your cross is a black cross with 2 arrows left and right, just double click and it will auto space it. Yep. So my cell is now where I want it to be. All right. So I do XLOOKUP. So I say is equals to XLOOKUP. Similar to VLOOKUP, the formulas are similar, but this is the formula here. So XLOOKUP, the full name in, that's my comma. I go to the admin, A. So it says the whole of A. Then I go to another, then I say comma, and bring what you have in B, comma. If you don't find it, comma 0 or comma false. Sorry, comma 0. So I'll leave this formula here for you to see what it means. It means X lookup Ava Smith in column A. Column A has all the full names. So look for Ava Smith in column A. And this second command means and in English. And produce column B. What you have for Ava Smith in A, give to me what you see for her corresponding in B. If you don't find it, give me 0. And then you press enter. It has given you her birth month. And you can see that this is the same as this because she was born in March. March, remember, we corrected it from January. So I'm just going to change it back to January. For those who are still using the exercise file and they're wondering, oh, mine didn't give January, it gave March. So it was March I sent to you. We just made a slight update. You see how that has changed automatically for January, and then you can drag down. Now, another question. Assuming Ava Smith was not Ava Smith the same way, right? I prefer like a XLOOKUP over VLOOKUP because when somebody is reviewing your sheet afterwards or after you might have left the organization or something, the person knows the exact column because it's seeing the column that you put. It's not saying, okay, which one is column 3, column 4, and all of that. It's really if your VLOOKUP actually highlighted the whole cell and then you just picked 33 out of it. So in that wise, XLOOKUP is good. However, when I'm doing some numbers, why I prefer VLOOKUP is because if it doesn't find the name, I want to see the visible errors to show that there's an NA, there's an error there. However, if it was XLOOKUP will give me 0 if it doesn't find it. Of you understand that even if I put false there, XLOOKUP will give me 0. So let me give you an example. When I change Ava Smith, instead of Ava Smith here, maybe when the admin was filling it out, it was Eva Smith with a V, right? Maybe she has an initial and we put Eva Smith here, right? Remember, I'm using unique identifiers, but now it's not going to be unique because Eva Smith here is Eva Smith with a V. And then if I go here, if it's not the formula that is already mapping up, and if it is, let's assume I did the flash fill and it wasn't mapping up and it was Eva, for example, right? And it comes here and it sees Eva Smith. Can you see this? See what it gives you. Do you understand what I'm talking about now? Visibly, VLOOKUP will give you that error to say it is not applicable. There is an error there. XLOOKUP will say 0, it is not applicable. It's not there. You understand what I mean? Despite the fact that you ended with 0 here, and when you went here, you ended with 0 here. The difference in the 0 is VLOOKUP is telling you that there's an error because there's no exact match. XLOOKUP is saying there's an error, but my error says 0. So XLOOKUP will give you a 0 when there's an error. VLOOKUP will give you an error when there's an error. You understand what I mean? So it all depends. For now, because it's like words, month, day, and stuff like that, you could use either one because 0 cannot be a birth month. You understand? So you would flag it immediately that, okay, there's an error here. But if it's like numbers where you will have some people who are truly supposed to be 0, it would be hard for you to know whether there's an error or not for VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP. But that's just a few of the differences personally, the reason why I like XLOOKUP over VLOOKUP or VLOOKUP over XLOOKUP. But generally, I think both can be used depending on your preference. So I hope this helps. We're going to change Ava back to Ava Smith. All right, Ava Smith is back to Ava Smith. And then when we come here, it has corrected it and it's there. Do we have any questions so far? Emmanuel says XLOOKUP way better. Yeah, so it's a preference thing. So it depends on your preference, really. We're supposed to go into charting at some points for us to do some charting, but this was supposed to be a 1 hour session. We have sessions ever so often, and just wanted to let you all know that we offer Excel trainings as well. We offer 6 Excel classes depending on your timing. if you're interested in any of our classes, or if you're interested in the bundle where you have Excel classes, one-on-one coaching. We also train organizations as well, businesses as well. So if you want us to train like a class of your organization, or if it's a class with your children in there as well, we do that as well. So let us know. My email address was the one that you got when you were signing in, and I will just put it in the chat in here. And I would also send you, so this is my email address in here, and I would also send to you our contact for Codable HR. So Codable HR is an organization that helps businesses as well to get to their potential using Excel and using so many other applications that they have. We also have quite a few things that we do with regards to budgeting, with regards to compensation, and with regards to payroll and the likes. So I will also send that to you so that you're able to let us know your interest in that as well. So this is our feedback link if you want us to give you a call, or if you want to connect with us so that we are able to connect with you with regards to courses. All right, so I will be copying that link in here, and then I'll be posting it in here as well. So we are ready to reach out to you. We're ready to work with you. If you feel, oh my goodness, I've lost quite a lot of opportunities because I do not know Excel, honestly, we can handhold you to make sure that you get to that next level. Once again, I'm Bumi Ajaguno. I'm an associate director with MCAP, and I have been working Excel since forever. So if you have any questions, you can please unmute and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So codeablehr.com/contacts, that's the name, that's the link that you'll have to reach out to us if you're interested in our Excel programs. Let me know if this has been helpful to you, and if you learned something, just send it in the chat and let me know that you're here. A thumbs up, and congrats to those who have finished this class. You're welcome. Thank you for those chats. You're welcome. I'm always happy to help. And that brings us to the end of this. Thank you, Eugenia. I see that you said that this has been very helpful. It's always our pleasure to know that we've been resourceful to those who join our class. If you would like also to learn more about our next offerings, please let us know as well. Please use the Codable HR, join our distribution in there. But after today's class, what we have learned so far, I will be sending you the solutions in there as well. And that brings us to the end of the class. We will be also learning how to chart and how to visualize. That's using charts, using pivots, using pie charts from the data that you already have. It's pretty easy, it's pretty simple, and it's pretty straightforward, but we want to be respectful of your time. Thank you, Fisayo. Thank you, Morisola. Thank you, Sazu. Thank you, Kemi. All right. So I see a hand up, Ronke. Yes, you can go ahead. Do you have
Yeah,
a question?
yes, thank you so much, Bumi, for this.
You're
I was just
welcome.
wondering, is it possible that we get the recorded version of this lesson so that we can, practice, at our own time? Is there a
Yes, you will have
possibility?
the recorded version, and
Okay.
it will be available for you for 24 hours only. So
Oh,
you should be getting the recorded version after this class. Once we
yeah.
convert it, we will
Thank you
send it
for
to
that.
you. Make
Sounds
sure to
great.
try to practice as much as you can. Honestly, with
Mm-hmm.
Excel, it's not rocket science. You will be surprised how much you can do with Excel and how easy it can make your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
you're most welcome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we have any other questions? All right. Thank you all very much. And if you have questions, even as you're working on Excel and you run into a problem or you run into a roadblock, please let us know. I work with my colleague in Codable HR, Mia. She should also be on the line as well. But we do consulting. So we're ready to consult with you to help you. Just let us know, shoot us an email, shoot us a text message, whatever it is, we will be right on to help you with regards to your needs at every given point in time. And just as an extra, I will be putting my phone number in the chat room as well. So please feel free to reach out to me. All right. Take care and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. You're welcome.